Feeling proud, the political parties are fighting for credit over Chandrayaan-3. Congress released a series of campaigns to show that the country's space journey began during Jawaharlal Nehru's era.
ये उपलब्धियां पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के विजन का प्रमाण है, जिन्होंने इस बात पर जोर दिया साइंटिफिक टेम्पर ही एक स्वतंत्र राष्ट्र के विकास की भावना को आगे बढ़ा सकता है.
For DMK, the Million Minds-led ISRO mission. The BJP is crediting the Prime Minister.
मैं एक बार पुनः इस ऐतिहासिक उपलब्धि के लिए देश के वैज्ञानिकों को बधाई देता हूं और इस अविस्मरणीय पल की अनुभूति दिलाने के लिए देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं.
And some in the opposition are completely clueless. As India celebrates successful landing of Chandrayaan-3, politics over credit is only intensifying. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते.
Burning question, powered by Maruti Jimny and Maersk.
So the burning question, ladies and gentlemen, we are asking this evening is about the kind of politics and the real credit war that has ensued ever since you have seen Chandrayaan-3 being a huge success. Now there are questions that will go to all sides. Are netas allowed to enjoy and take credit over a scientist who've toiled day in and day out? That continues to be a top focus. In fact, what you have seen a little earlier and what you're seeing now are some fascinating pictures that have been put out by ISRO, and this is what the world today is looking at. So why are netas busy politicking right from the Congress that wants to talk about and give credit to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, because they say that it is the Congress that actually laid the foundation stones for ISRO, to the Rashtriya Janata Dal that here alleges that the Prime Minister has stolen credit. In fact, those are the exact words that the RJD uses in one of its tweets that they put out to an MK Stalin, who goes on to say that the Million Minds have led the ISRO mission. The list is long. They all indicate that this today is a moment for netas to take credit. We've also heard reactions that have come in, remember, from the BJP. The BJP says that there have been more missions successful under the leadership of the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister, remember, when he was speaking yesterday after this huge feat, has actually said this is a huge success for humanity. So why can't our netas ensure that there is no politics, or politics can at least wait? Let's get a panel of guests, if possible, on the screens, and we'll quickly introduce them and ask that question today that I think bothers all of us today. Tom Varakan is a BJP spokesperson with us. Shubh Malhotra is a spokesperson for the Aam Aadmi Party. Nikhil Jain is an advocate. He's also a political analyst. He leans towards the Congress. Professor Monojit Mandal is also a political analyst. He leans towards the Trinamool Congress. And my first question is to Rajiv Ranjanji, the National Secretary and the spokesperson for the Janata Dal United. Because there's this interesting reaction, Rajiv Ranjan ji, Nitish Kumar ji से जब कल पूछा गया चंद्रयान के बारे में, तो लोगों का ये आरोप है कि नीतीश कुमार को शायद पता भी नहीं था कि चंद्रयान 3 क्या है, और वो एक वक्त लेते हैं थोड़ा सा, और उनके साथ अशोक चौधरी खड़े हैं और उनसे पहले पूछते हैं और उसके बाद कहते हैं हाँ सब ठीक है. तो ऐसे वक्त में जब चंद्रयान 3 को लेकर राजीव रंजन जी पूरा वर्ल्ड, पूरे विश्व में इस ज़बरदस्त सक्सेस की वाहवाही हो रही है, नीतीश कुमार जो एक प्राइम मिनिस्टीरियल एस्पिरेंट है, क्या चंद्रयान 3 के बारे में उनको कुछ नहीं पता सर?
देखिए, सबसे पहले मैं आपके सवाल का जवाब दो हिस्से में दूंगा. सबसे पहले इस देश के सभी वैज्ञानिकों को, इस मिशन में लगे वैज्ञानिकों को, उन तमाम जो 6 दशकों का ये सफ़र है, इसमें जो भी पूर्ववर्ती सरकारें हैं और वर्तमान सरकार का जो नेतृत्व है, पूरे देशवासियों को सबसे पहले इसके लिए बधाई। ये किसी एक व्यक्ति के लिए ये आनंद और ये हर्ष का क्षण नहीं है। आज कहीं ना कहीं पूरे देश को इस बड़ी उपलब्धि पर गर्व है। इस दौरान हम अगर इसकी बात करते हैं, जब भी करते हैं, इसलिए कि आपके कई सवाल अलग अलग हैं और उन सवालों में नीतीश कुमार जी के बारे में आपने पूछा, मैं उसका जवाब दूंगा। लेकिन उसके पहले मैं एक बात कहूँगा, जो लोग यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, इसके शुरुआत निसंदेह 1962 में इस आइडिया को लेकर के ही एक कमेटी बनी, और जो 69 से आपका सफ़र इसरो का है, इस दौरान SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV, इनसे पूरी तरह से इक्विप्ड ये जो मिशन है, इस मिशन के 1975 के आर्यभट्ट से लेकर 2008 के चंद्रयान-1 और उसके बाद एक ही दिन में 100 से ज़्यादा सैटेलाइट भेजने का 2017 का जो कीर्तिमान है, और इसके बाद एक मिशन की असफलता, फिर उसके बाद एक अद्भुत कामयाबी। तो इन कामयाबियों के साथ इस पूरे देश का जो दिल है वो जुड़ा है, और इस देश की विभिन्न सरकारों का अपने अपने समय में योगदान है।
लेकिन
विक्रम
राजीव
साराभाई
जी,
से लेकर
देखिए,
ये होबी जहांगीर
आप एक
भाभा,
सर बहुत सीनियर, आप
जी।
एक बहुत सीनियर स्पोक्स पर्सन है। मैं नहीं चाहती कि मैं आपको बीच में इंटरप्ट करूं, बट मैं आपको एक बात कहना चाहूंगी एज अ सिटीजन ऑफ द कंट्री टुडे। देखिए, ये सब पॉलिटिक्स, नेताओं का काम होता है पॉलिटिक्स करना। नेता चाहेंगे कि हर चीज़ से किसी ना किसी तरह का उनको पॉलिटिकल माइलेज मिले, लेकिन क्या ये 24 घंटे भी नहीं रुक सकता था सर? क्योंकि हमारे साइंटिस्ट अभी भी दिन रात, और आप सोचिए कोविड टाइम में जब लॉकडाउन था, जब और बहुत सारी समस्याएं थी, यही वो टीम है जो कल हमने सुना है, जो इसरो के डायरेक्टर हैं, उन्होंने ये कहा कि आई वॉज ईटिंग, ब्रीदिंग, स्लीपिंग Chandrayaan-3। पॉलिटिशियंस तो, और RJD का ट्वीट भी, मनोजीत, बिफोर आई come to you, the RJD had said that the Prime Minister is taking credit away from the scientist, Manojit. But isn't the Congress also then guilty of playing politics, because the Congress's first response is only to credit Jawaharlal Nehru? The scientists can wait, let's credit Nehru first. Manojit.
First of all, it's salute to our scientists. It is the achievement of the entire nation, largely because of these, I think, remarkable minds of India. And it goes to none else. No politician, not a single politician, including, dare I say, the Prime Minister of this country. Remember that the money that was spent was merely 600 crores, almost the movie of a big budget, in a big budget movie. And it is being reported time and again that at least 1,700 workers in that particular, concern, ISRO, contractual staff, they are not getting their salaries properly for the last 3-4 years as well, since the time of the COVID.
Where is
So,
that mentioned? Where is that mentioned? See, this is the point. This is the point, Monoji. This is exactly what I said. This is something that Digvijay Singh has also said. Before I get it here, I think I should allow Tom Badakkar a response here, Monoji.
This is reported in many of the newspapers.
Monoji, do we even
Please check the
realize the
newspaper
feats that
reports.
India has achieved?
Of course. That's
No,
what I'm
I
saying.
mean, you cite
Well,
newspaper
this is-
reports that
this is my-
suit
this
you.
is-
Tom
not the
Badakkar,
achievement
is
of a
there
single
truth in this
government, that's what I'm
allegation
saying.
that a lot
Because
of Congress
government-
leaders, and now Monojit is also
government has
reiterating,
not
Tom,
really
where they say
helped
that there are certain
these people,
scientists,
these
and they allege,
scientists.
Tom, that they have not been paid their salaries. Tom.
Look at the money that was spent,
First,
nearly
let me open
600
up by
crores for
congratulating the
such a
scientists
humongous
associated
project.
Wait,
with
let
this
Tom
mission.
600
respond.
crores.
Tom, you
My
will have to
hearty
unmute yourself, please.
congratulations go out to the scientists associated with this mission and the people of this country for the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3.
Tom, we are not able to hear
Heartfelt
you.
congratulations to the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, under whose leadership the country is setting new
There lies
records
the
of
problem.
success every
There
day.
lies the problem.
Now,
There lies the
to answer that gentleman's question, let me tell you something. Government of India immediately on a fact check has said this is a fake story. Started by Digvijay, who says it was reportedly said in some media source. He never quoted it. And followed by the General Secretary of the Congress, Mr. Venugopal, who went on to repeat it. And when you repeat such lies, you think the people of India are going to believe them? Do you think the scientists sitting there were hungry for their salary?
Tom asserts that this is fake news. Okay, Tom, I will come back to you. Let me see if Nikhil is willing to apologize for this. Nikhil, because you also lean towards the Congress, and I did hear a reaction coming in from Digvijay Singh where he's reiterated this charge, Nikhil. So without having your facts in place on a day as huge and significant as this for humanity, Nikhil, is it fair that Digvijay Singh can be allowed to make a statement like this and get away?
See, Deepthi, Congress party is putting the rights of the people and the rights of government workers before taking pride in the nation. Personally, I feel it's a great moment of pride for the country, for all the people, for all the scientists. And on the topic of the salaries not being paid, I'm reading from CNBC TV 18th July 2023 article, which is well before the statement of Digvijay Singh. HEC engineers who built Chandrayaan-3 launchpad did not get paid for 17 months. This is an IANS report. When we are talking about the PIB fact check, that PIB fact check is limited to the payment of salaries of ISRO. So one can attribute a technical error on the part of Mr. Digvijay Singh.
Nikhil.
That ISRO scientists were not
that's exactly what I'm saying. Aren't you mixing up issues?
When you
aren't you mixing up issues right now, Nikhil? That's exactly what I said. You're taking away the credit the day that belongs to a scientist.
While the other panelists are speaking. Mr. Vanakam, can you please not speak over the other panelists?
Tom, he's saying that this is a report that has put out in the media, and that's why Digvijay Singh has quoted that report.
Let
him respond to Nikhil. You're reiterating that charge, and it's only fair I allow Tom to respond to that. Tom.
Correct. I'm reading from CNBC TV.
This is a false story. This is a fake story. The standard
how is it a false story? Everything is a false story for you guys. What is it? You should have rebutted the story back then, no? Why does the PIB fact check only when a Congress leader speaks, and that too it's a manipulated fact check? You are putting lies before the country.
No, I don't understand. What are both of you gentlemen fighting over? Nikhil and Tom, please pull back. Please pull back for a moment. And Tom, we are facing certain audio issues with your connection, and our team is fixing it, I'm told, and I'm just getting it back. Tom, let me also get in Shubh into this conversation. Now, Shubh, do you side today with Monojit, with Mr. Rajiv and Nikhil, who say, listen, we have to pick out some loophole because we have to tarnish the government of the day. The Chandrayaan-3 might be a huge thing for the government. Nikhil, exactly. That is the sentiment. That is the sentiment. You are not talking about Chandrayaan-3, all that our scientists have done, but you want to pull down the government. No, let Shubh respond. Nikhil, I will come back to you. You know, a lot of newspaper reports can also be fake. That is why it's important to have a fact check on every story that you put out on a national television, and you being representatives of political parties, that is expected of you. True. Monojit, I will come back to you. Let Shubh also put out her point. True.
Fake reporting.
No, I don't see it as an attempt to pull down the government. And at the very outset itself, my honorable spokesperson, my co-panelist, he mentioned that he's extremely proud that we have been able to make this achievement. But at the same time, facts are facts. So if, and as the opposition, it is our right. And in fact, it is a right given to us by the people of the country that we should question the government if there are irregularities that come into our notice. So I think that is all that is the duty, and it is being very well done by the opposition. Having said that, I also want to state that we as a coalition are extremely proud of this achievement of the country. Just, you know, I hope that the other side, the incumbents, are proud of us when the Delhi school model gets featured on the New York Times, or Melania Trump visits Delhi government school as the first lady, or you know, our primary healthcare system of Mohalla clinics gets studied by Harvard. So I just hope that we are all as Indians.
Shubh, this is the problem. This is exactly what I was telling Nikhil. You know, are you comparing Chandrayaan-3 and the feat it has achieved with what any particular political party in any state is doing? I mean, is that a comparison? Is that even a fair comparison, Shubh?
Well,
I'm sure you understand what it takes to reach to the moon and where we are.
Of course. But the point being that does the media also understand what it takes to reach the moon? Because glorifying one particular person, one particular individual for the ISRO's achievements is, of course, wrong in its own way. I mean, you do understand that the first Chandrayaan was launched in 2008. And then in 2014, after years of effort, Mangalyaan was launched. So, all of these, they just did not happen after a particular year after the recent incumbents came into power. So it is wrong to, just hold the light and
no
show
one
the
says
light
that,
towards one
Shubh. But
individual.
my only limited point, Monojit, is that Nikhil is obviously not wanting to talk of what happened with i.n.d.i.a. He's also not talking of the fact that why Chandrayaan-2 was delayed, and it's okay. I mean, you should give credit to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. No one says don't. But I'm saying do not undermine what our scientists have done, Nikhil. Isn't that also equally important? I mean, this politics could have waited for 24 hours, for 48 hours, Nikhil. Nikhil and then Monojit.
In fact,
Yeah, Mr. Manojit, just a minute. So, Deepti,
Nikhil,
I
yes.
was talking about this unpaid salaries only because that was a specific question you put to me. I am nowhere trying to undermine the achievements of our scientists. In fact, that is precisely what I'm saying.
Have you verified that
speech-
story? Nikhil,
Yes.
because Digvijay is saying
again on that story.
any number
Yes,
of
yes, I
times
have
that he's
verified.
reiterated this charge, he's been fact-checked.
Deepti,
You haven't verified it.
I verified it. I quoted you the verification. It has been published on CNBC TV.
You
18.
verified it. Have
has
you
been-
spoken to people who allegedly here have not been paid their salaries?
Deepti, now I'm going to talk about the salaries. You're going to say I'm not appreciating the scientists. When I want to talk about the scientists, you don't let me speak about the scientists. Let's stick to the scientists first. What I'm trying to say
No,
here
I'll
is
ask
I'm
you both
completely agreeing.
because both the points,
Allow me to
Nikhil.
respond for both.
No, because
Allow
you
me
do
to
not.
respond for
You
both.
stand with the comment that has been made by Digvijay saying you, Monojit, everyone is repeating that same charge. So I want to know that have you verified? Have you spoken to these team members who you allegedly say have not been paid their salaries? Because you're coming on national television and reiterating that charge.
Yes, it is an IANS report. It has been reported by CNBC TV 18. It has been reported by Wired. There was no PIB fact check at that point of time. You can't expect a political party or a political person to go into that level of detail and investigation. For heaven's sake, you're not the government. How can you expect me or Digvijay Singh or any opposition leader to go and find the scientists whose salaries have not been paid? That was a charge in a news report by 3 credible news agencies. And if a political leader is using that and citing that to say that, yes, XYZ thing happened, you can't ask us to go and meet those people. It is the government of India's job to ensure that if somebody's salaries has not been paid,
Then does that mean, no.
Give that clarification.
You are citing your narrative, Tom, I will let you come in here, but you have been silent on i.n.d.i.a. and you're being conspicuous by that silence because that tells us that there is a story that the Congress does not want us to talk about. Tom, would you want to respond to what the large part of the opposition has alleged? They say you cannot glorify the Prime Minister. It is not just because of the Prime Minister that we have a Chandrayaan-3 that is successful. It's only and only because of a scientist. Tom.
I would like to remind these it was the same Prime Minister who went and lent shoulders to the scientists when the mission failed. No Prime Minister has gone that way.
Was it necessary?
Whether it is Arvind Kejriwal or their Rahul Gandhi, nobody bothered when the mission failed. It was this Prime Minister who stood up and said there's another day. You can succeed. It is the will of this Prime Minister that has shown. And let me also get into the technical issues.
But he did not take
3,800 crores has been earned by ISRO. 3,800 crores has been earned
Monojit,
by
let him complete,
ISRO.
please. I will give you the final word. Let him
90% has
complete,
come in
please.
during Modi ji's period. We have an economic window of opportunity. And you are talking about salaries with fact checks have proved it's a fake news. I can plant anything against Rahul Gandhi if I want to, but my culture will not prevent me from doing that through any news agency. Unless it's fact checked, you can't say it's confirmed, and you blamed it on ISRO. And the panelist himself denies it has nothing to do with ISRO. Isn't there an apology due to the government of India, who has fact-checked this and has come to record?
Tom,
Yes,
you
a
have an axe to
government
grind with the
that is
opposition, but
delivering.
I just have a limited point. Are we then saying what we also heard from JP Nadda, that this has only and only because of the leadership of the Prime Minister? Are you also then not taking away the credit that is due to the scientist, at least today? All this politics can wait, Tom. That's my limited point.
There lies the problem. There lies the
We
problem.
have, the Prime Minister has congratulated the scientist. My information is correct. He is visiting ISRO. The new plan of action,
Yes, he
is
is.
being worked out. Leading from the front. He is not sitting in Leh and saying the Muslims are attacked. He is not saying it was Rakesh Roshan who went to space. He is not saying what Rajiv Shukla, what is
Then Tom, yes, the
And you
Prime
had a
Minister has spoken
Rajasthan
about
minister
humanity,
here
but I
saying
cited you
that
the example of
passengers should
JP
be
Nadda, who
congratulated.
who did not even wait for hours to credit the Prime Minister. Okay, but then the opposition is equally guilty. Monajit, are you getting scared now that in this election season, where the Prime Minister leads by example, the Prime Minister has ensured that space exploration gets its due. The Prime Minister has ensured that he reaches out to Team ISRO. Even if they fail, he says, do not worry. We are with you. We will fight it. And we have won this. Are you scared that this is another point on which you will end up losing the big 2024 battle, Monajit? Is that the real pain?
Please check your facts, Deepthi. When the mission failed in 2019, the Prime Minister did not take the blame. Right? Right now, when it was...
Why should he take the blame or the credit? Exactly what I'm saying. It's not about taking a blame or taking credit, Monajit. It's about telling someone you are with them, you are with the scientists. He's the leader of the country, he's the Prime Minister. If Jawaharlal Nehru can be credited with the establishment of ISRO and everything else, what is the harm if the Prime Minister also reaches out to ISRO scientists if their successful mission today has been achieved? Monajit.
Because of the Prime Minister, that this mission has been a successful. Right now, my good friend from BJP has said this. If the Prime Minister doesn't say in very many words, Prime Minister's followers will say the same thing. The entire success story.
Your leadership says it was Rakesh Roshan who went to space.
Are you saying this?
Rakesh Roshan is an actor. But Rakesh Roshan and Rakesh Sharma are two different people. This is your information. This is your knowledge about space. Why are you talking for your leader without even having a
to get to where they are right now?
Insult
look at this.
The man who went into space without knowing his name. Your leader has failed miserably in the eyes of the public, not recognized. An Indian who went to space by misreading his name as Rakesh Roshan. So stop defending TMC because you have no clue of what space is about, what this window of opportunity
and that is running the country.
To the credit of humanity, the Prime Minister rightly said, it's for humanity. Talking about the BRIC nations coming together and having a space mission. You understand that?
It is your mission.
Do you see beyond the Bengal where rights, bomb manufacturing is the product of your TMC government? You are run by goons and for goons.
This is so unfortunate. This is exactly the problem, Monajit, Tom, Shubh, Nikhil and Rajiv Ranjanji, that on a day as significant as this, where the world today is looking at India and all. No, Monajit, we have achieved what countries like the US, what countries like China, what countries like Russia have not been able to do. Let that sink in, Monajit. We are Indians first. We should be absolutely proud and elated of that achievement. Forget that you're speaking for the TMC, Nikhil, you're speaking for the Congress, Shubh for the AAP, or even Tom for the BJP and Rajiv Ranjanji for the JDU. It's important we thank our scientists and we credit them. That's the only thing we should be talking about. Shubh and all gentlemen, I thank you right now for this conversation. But like I said, in India, politicians being politicians, They will ensure that even space exploration is not bipartisan, and that is the tragedy of this entire story. But we at Republic do recognize the efforts that have been put in by our scientists, and this is the reason why we'll put out our next interview. A lot of you have been asking whether we'll have a rerun of this interview, and yes, we are putting out an interview of the man of the moment, the man who heads ISRO, the man who himself is behind the Mark III rocket, that is behind putting Chandrayaan-3 in the orbit of the moon, the man who says, I have been eating, breathing and sleeping Chandrayaan-3. The man who today is rejoicing in the success that Chandrayaan-3 has achieved, not just for the country but for the world. This is the ISRO chairman in conversation with our colleague Prajwal.
You know, now we have the man of the moment, the moon man, the mission that was run by the ISRO chairman, Mr. S. Somnath. Sir, thank you for speaking to Republic Media Network. You know, those last 20 minutes of terror, it was nail-biting as well. But you were a calm composure, you were embodying that as well. What was exactly running through your mind at that point of time?
See, for such missions, which are very high-risk missions, as all of you know, going to moon and landing there is not an easy task at all. So for such missions, we do all those preparations, which has been done for Chandrayaan-2 as well. But this time, when you did for Chandrayaan-3, it is something extraordinary, I must tell you. It is not just the Chandrayaan-2, it is 4 years of hard work to understand what went wrong, then a lot of corrective actions, and it's test of hundreds of tests. And all those data we analyzed, understood, and then made modifications and improvements, and finally made the craft for the Chandrayaan-3. So once you have done so much of work and confidence has been built over a period of rigorous reviews, assessment, why you should worry about it further? It has to perform. That's what it is. Engineering is science is. So then more than that, we have taken care of any possible failures by mitigation mechanisms. In case something fails, what alternates are there? And definitely other routes are there. Algorithmically they are redundant, and so many protections are taken on top of it. So we were really confident. Personally, I was very confident. I had no worries on it.
You were giving that nod of your head when it was around 153 meters. We exactly saw that, and you seemed to be quite confident even as your team was on the edge of the seat. So how important were these two elements, that is the LH-DAC camera as well as the laser Doppler velocimeter, because everybody is attributing that majority of the success of this particular mission was based on these two instruments?
See, you should understand that inside there is something called inertial sensor. It contains accelerometers and rate sensors. That means rotation it can sense, or linear motion it can sense. In fact, yesterday's mission, none of these instruments were actually put to use. All those LS-DAC or laser Doppler velocimeter, nothing was demanded, because the entire mission was so nominal and it was running on the inertial platform. And it can actually do the landing perfectly. All other instruments were giving additional information. So really it was not warranted, or it was not called for, because there was no anomaly on board. It was so beautiful, it was destined to land perfectly. So none of the contingencies that we have put, including instruments, were called for.
Okay. So from the findings of the rover now, what does it hold, and what will it bring more for India?
See, it is again a demonstration of robotic activity. Now, your robotic activity means you can control something that is moving in space, 3 lakh plus kilometers away. You are able to control it from here, how it moves, how it rows, how it does experiments, deploys, do something, get the data. It's not a small thing.
Yes.
So once you do that, you can do many more things in the future. How to plan robotic expeditions, how to do mining, how to do exploration of moon with better robots tomorrow. Okay. All of these are the first step of understanding how robotic expeditions can be done. And this will extend to Mars as well. Then second aspect is, of course, the specific instruments that we have put are the one which are of something of scientific interest to us, like the elemental composition and as well as the molecular composition. So we will address these two things after the data comes.
So India is known for frugal engineering as well, and everybody is pointing that out too, because they were comparing it to the Luna, and we have done it at 1/3 of the cost as well. But looking at it, some of them are also stating that ISRO was also under a lot of financial constraints too. So how has the sort of support that has come in from the center, mainly in terms of funds?
See, there was no financial constraints in terms of allocation of funds to Department of Space. Whatever we asked, we got. So there is no doubt about it. But of course, the constraint during COVID time was there in terms of, that was there for everybody. It's not for Department of Space alone. Expenditure limitations and controls were there. and the procurement limitations were there. But that is all over now. Now the post-COVID time, it is now opened up, and you can see what's happening now in space sector. Number of launches increased, and missions are going up. So it's a whole question of support system. See the industry support system, government support, and public support, and all of these are very high today. So we will be doing much better.
Do you think that the public-private partnership will now go ahead and increase as well, more of with the ISRO, the private partners as well?
Yeah, that's a different area. For example, what we are doing today are government-funded programs. In the future, we would like to have this space program to be moving over to the private companies and entrepreneurs, as well as public-private partnerships. It has a deeper interest. Finally, when you do with government, you cannot convert it into a commercial or a business activity. It will be more of a serving the departments of the government of India. But that is not where the business is. The business is in making use of the space activities to the commercial sector. Of course, public good is important. That we do for ministries, department, etc. So if you want to do, for example, communication, television broadcasting is no longer a governmental area. Telephone network is not a governmental area. It's no point in doing it. And in the coming days, the roles of the communication, remote sensing, navigation, timing are all in the public domain, in the commercial domain. For example, GPS. It operates fully as a commercial activity. So if you have to really go to that, our space activity also should get into the commercial sphere, where private players can come in. But the technology is difficult. Technology will be continued to be developed by ISRO as much as it can. But definitely in private also the capacity will grow over the period of time. And when private capacity and technology development and R&D grows up, of course ISRO need not have to do. So up to that time, this organization has to support and survive to keep that. And of course, it has to do many more missions like exploratory mission, moon mission.
Yes.
I don't know when there will be a private company in India who will be capable of doing a moon mission to come out a commercially viable moon mission. If it happens, it's really good, isn't it?
Yes.
So similarly, asteroid mining and many things private companies are talking about. It may become commercially viable at some point in time. So until then, this process will continue, and slowly getting into that commercial activity of space becomes important for a nation because it generates revenue, it generates employment, it generates larger number of companies to participate in this. So it's all that way we are looking at it.
So India has gone ahead and signed the Artemis record. There was an official release by the White House as well. They congratulated India for what it is being done, but they also look very optimistic that we will be sharing the entire data with them as well, so that they can also go ahead and work on the data and can improve as well, and they're looking forward to go ahead and do more missions with India too. So how open is ISRO to going ahead and sharing data at this point of time?
See, both are two different things. Artemis Accord is simply a non-binding accord between US and India, and similarly US and other nations. It only says that we can work together in future exploration of moon and other planetary spaces, and there are some guidelines put in. It doesn't talk about anything else. Okay, but whatever we are going to have data sharing, etc., is continuing from even before Artemis Accord. See, we have joint science missions. The moon Chandrayaan-3 mission is an example of NASA-ISRO joint mission. There were US payloads hosted on Chandrayaan-3, and the date and the finding of the water molecules on moon was discovered by a US instrument mounted on Indian Chandrayaan-3 and an Indian instrument mounted on Indian Chandrayaan-3. So, and all science data which comes out of Chandrayaan-3, not only Chandrayaan-3, even American satellites, they give it to India free after a certain period of lock-in. So science data sharing is an integral part of the science community all across nations. So that is what we are going to do for Chandrayaan-3 as well. It has nothing to do with Artemis Accord.
Lastly, before I let you go, what is the sort of message that you want to give to the entire country and the world as well? Because we are the first country to land in the south pole of the moon as well. So what is your message, sir?
Our message is that being a complex mission like Chandrayaan-3, accomplishing success has been a difficult task. But a difficult task is accomplished by Indians now. Now it's a thing of great pride to us. Not that we did it in ISRO, but it's the whole country did it. It is not out of the one center alone. It's multiple centers participated, industries participated, many companies participated, academic institutions participated to create this capability. It's just beyond satellite launching and like a communication reports in the satellite. It has a huge launching component. It has a satellite component. So finally, I would like to tell you, take pride in what we are doing. It's very important because the confidence that you give out by this process that we can also achieve as much as the powerful nations have achieved gives you a hope that one day you will be able to do many more things as done by others, like continuous flight of our Indians to moon, and create a vibrant technology-based economy in this country, so that we can one day be very powerful. That dictates the future of the universe, and it is very important that we do that.
After Chandrayaan-3, it is clearly proven that India is, at least now, we are self-sufficient in the field of space as well. Speaking about the Gaganyaan as well as the Aditya mission as well. So when is the Aditya mission being formally launched off now? Is there any particular date that has been set?
It has to be launched beginning of September first week, because that is the only slot available. Otherwise, it will have to be done some other time. So we are working for it. And on the Gaganyaan, we are going to have some abort missions, test flight missions, in the end of September or October beginning.
Okay. Prime Minister Modi is coming on the 26th as well. He's had a word with you too. So
we are expecting, we are hoping that he must be able to come, but then it has to be confirmed.
Okay, sir. Thank you for speaking to Republic Media Network. So that was the man of the moment, Dr. S. Somnath, who has been speaking to us. Thank you for watching Republic.
The Amity MBA has been ranked among India's top 10 for the last 6 years in the Times of India B-School Survey. Yet another top ranking after being ranked among India's top 10 by Economic Times and Business Today. To apply, visit amity.edu.
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
The Amity MBA has been ranked among India's top 10 for the last 6 years in the Times of India B-School Survey. Yet another top ranking after being ranked among India's top 10 by Economic Times and Business Today.
To apply, visit amity.edu.
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सर, वी हैव अचीव्ड सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग ऑन द मून। इंडिया इज ऑन द मून।
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सर, वी हैव अचीव्ड सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग ऑन द मून। इंडिया इज ऑन द मून।
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सर, वी हैव अचीव्ड सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग ऑन द मून। इंडिया इज ऑन द मून।
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
The i.n.d.i.a MBA has been ranked among India's top 10 for the last 6 years in the Times of India B School Survey. Yet another top ranking after being ranked among India's top 10 by Economic Times and Business Today.
To apply, visit amity.edu.
The pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सर, वी हैव अचीव्ड सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग ऑन द मून। इंडिया इज ऑन द मून।
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।
What is the i.n.d.i.a bloc's common vision for India? Prime Minister Modi's leadership becomes the focus. Prime Minister delivers clear vision for nation. What about the opposition? Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
The i.n.d.i.a MBA has been ranked among India's top 10 for the last 6 years in the Times of India B School Survey. Yet another top ranking after being ranked among India's top 10 by Economic Times and Business Today.
To apply, visit amity.edu.
pivotal power descent has begun and the lander module is propelling towards the moon's surface along the intended trajectory.
बेस के एकदम करीब आ चुके हैं। हाँ, आप तालियों के गड़गड़ाहट से सुन सकते हैं कि लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है। ये देख सकते हैं कि हम
प्रधानमंत्री जी, सर, वी हैव अचीव्ड सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग ऑन द मून। इंडिया इज ऑन द मून।
भारत चंद्रमा के उस दक्षिणी ध्रुव पर पहुंचा है जहां आज तक दुनिया का कोई भी देश नहीं पहुंच सका।